Welcome back, everyone. Episode
113.
113.
That's right.
Of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. We are brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline, website design, Google Ads, graphic design, local service ads from Google, printing, we can absolutely help. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, bbdigitalmarketing.com. You can request a free view of your entire online presence today, and we'd love to help you out. All right, I'm Milton Campus. I am a brown belt, training out of South Florida. Got Bo behind the camera. Miguel riding shotgun.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome. 2 in a row, man. Very cool.
Making things happen.
Thank you for taking that long ride. It hopefully won't be a lot longer.
I see.
Got my fingers crossed.
Me too, man.
I have a designer working on the new podcast layout,
Right.
which I'll be able to share with you.
And
some new sponsorship opportunities, hopefully.
Hey, share that with me too, so I can tell you where to put cameras.
Well,
and stuff
we'll talk a little bit about it off camera, like its purpose, and it's people are asking, well, what is it going to look like? People that are supporting the show say, well, hey, what is this new thing going to look like?
Like a strip club with poles.
Yeah, right.
Pole dancers,
no way.
Cage girls.
So
cardboard box.
I'm excited. So what we're talking about is we film in Miami, and we both live 45 minutes to an hour away.
Yeah.
It's quite a drive in traffic. You drive 2 hours from work, right? You go 1 hour north for work, and then 2 hours down here on a Thursday
past my house
to go back home. And
I can see my house from the highway. I'm like, oh.
So we're gonna get this thing back up to our neighborhood, hopefully, and it also it opens the door for us to do some more roundtables with groups of people we train with,
right?
And kind of get back to some of that original format of the show. So I'm excited about that.
Old school.
All right, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe.
Notifications, all of it.
Yeah, notification. Well, YouTube is now connected the notification button to the subscribe. And it used to be different. It's all together, but we'd really appreciate the support. So thank you.
Smash them all.
Joining us today is Pierre-Olivier Leclerc.
Bang,
I said it with my American. I said it in American.
Nailed it.
Would you like to say it with the French accent?
Just out of respect, right?
Pierre-Olivier Leclerc.
Yeah.
Close.
Oh boy.
It sounded like a fart.
I know. It's not even doing anything. My volume's down.
Yeah. Come on.
It won't do it.
It won't do it. Okay, so
What's
we were gonna
wrong
let
with
Google. We were gonna let Google.
Google's shy.
All right, we
Google,
lost.
Google.
The time
voice.
has passed. Let's do a few quick shout outs. Thank you to Sean over at Flow and Roll. Hands down the best custom gi and no-gi gear in the business.
That's right.
Don't believe us. Visit them on Instagram. Check out all the cool stuff he's always posting or that we repost on our Instagram. Their IG handle is flow_n_roll. Website is flowandroll.com. You can get 20% off your online order with code JJD. And again, don't forget, ask them about the stuff they're doing for academies throughout the country. It's amazing work.
Gym owners.
The designs are incredible. And you can basically, he can help you get everything that you need with very little out of pocket, everything you need for your gym, gi and no gi. Okay? Thank you to the BJJ box. They are Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box. It's delivered to your door filled with premium Jiu-Jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and a lot more.
That's right.
They find the best products in the world of Jiu-Jitsu and guarantee that every box is going to be worth more than its cost. Each box includes between 4 and 7 items. And use code JJD10 for $10 off your first box. All right? Shout out to Neutral Zone CBD. Oh, check out the stuff on the table there. No matter what your aches and pains are coming from, like, lifting, rolling for us, right? Rolling on the mat, or just a daily grind of life, Neutral Zone has a product for you. Find your Neutral Zone by finding the best product for your pain wellness so you can continue your active lifestyle. So check out everything that they have on neutralzonecbd.com, and it's code JJD for
It's
25% off your order.
Quarter.
Okay?
That's right.
Was that everybody?
25 basis points.
Is that it?
I think so.
Let's jump right in, man. Let's do this. Let's get Pierre in here.
Woo.
Welcome, Pierre. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good, guys. What's up?
Thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
think we're gonna dive
Thanks
right
for having
in.
me.
Let's do the obligatory. Like, let's start with how you got into jiu-jitsu, how you found jiu-jitsu or martial arts in general,
Yep.
and then we'll see where that takes us.
Okay, yeah. So started jiu-jitsu a bit more than 8 years ago. It's going to be 9 years, I think, this summer. Why did I get into jiu-jitsu? It was just like after, like, kind of, I was going to college, university, and wanted to kind of find a new sport to like get back in shape. I was kind of had the college life a little bit, of like not like caring too much, and I played hockey. Obviously, as a Canadian, you play hockey, right? And for a while, and then I kind of stopped and just started like studying and partying or whatever. And I was like, I wanted to get in shape, find a new sport, and I was always interested in martial art, but like just from like seeing and watching, like I was not like, I would watch a bit of MMA and stuff on YouTube, but I was never like fully committed, like, oh, this is what I want to do or whatever. But it's funny because when I started looking for gyms, it was just after I think I watched live GSP fought Nick Diaz, and obviously like GSP is like huge in everywhere in the world, but like in Canada and where I'm from, obviously because he's from the same place, it's like everybody watches, right? And I just started like being like, oh, I want to start learning a bit of like that, not only to like maybe like as a sport, and at the same time as like a mean to like, like self-defense, and like you want to like learn a new skill. So go on Google Map, start looking at the gyms. And I live in Montreal at that time. Like I still live in Montreal, but like I was like born on the South Shore, just like 20-30 minutes from there. So I'm like, looking on Google Map, I'm like, TriStar Gym. I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. And also I go on the website. I'm like, this is where George trains. So I'm like, all right, might as well do a tryout and see how it is. And I walked in TriStar Gym as a first day white belt, like my first day ever. I got the shit beat out of me. Like it's a classic story, right?
Yeah.
And then I wanted more. I was like, I want to learn how that kid that's like 130 pounds can just like choke me like I'm like just had no strength. Like you think you're strong or whatever until you roll with a guy that has a bit of technique. And he was like a blue belt too. So that's how it started. And then I never looked back. Actually,
did you know you knew that that TriStar was GSP's gym, or did you once you got there you're like, oh wait a minute, this is where I'm at?
Yeah, no. So actually, I didn't knew like right away, but through researching, I was like, oh, this is where he trains.
Okay.
So I was like, I want to go there. I guess it's the place to train in Montreal. It made sense. And like I started not just jiu-jitsu. Like I started like my first class was jiu-jitsu, but I was like, oh, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to try MMA. It's like you go to TriStar, you think I'm going to try MMA. So didn't go too well. Maybe we can talk about that later on. But like, I stuck to jiu-jitsu from that first day. I knew I was like, I want more of this. I got like obsessed right away. And then meeting the right people and at the right time, I guess, just made it that now it's my career. Like I do this full time.
What would you have done if you hadn't have gotten into jiu-jitsu or gone to TriStar? What'd you go to school for?
Yeah, so I was in school for international relation, which is like kind of politics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's funny because I don't enjoy politics, but at the same time, I like reading about I like learning about how system works, how our world like works, and like I really like economy and that stuff I do on the side. Sounds like jiu-jitsu people are nerdy, and I'm just confirming that we're even more nerdy. Like I'm like, oh, I read like economics book on the side, like
Same.
I'm so smart, but no, but
I'm an idiot, but I do the same thing.
That's it. I think you and me are probably the same. Actually.
He's like a crypto guy. I mean, and I'm sure lots of other. He's like one of these jack of all trades. Like that's he knows a little bit of something about a little bit of about a whole bunch of things. So.
I'm a bit like this, so actually maybe you'll recognize this thing right now. This article.
Eat out.
If you're a crypto guy.
Yeah.
What is that?
Let me see. I just see eat out. It's hard for me to read. Is it the Times? The light has a glare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a glare, but let me try to.
Something on brink.
Yeah.
It's like chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's like the Bitcoin Genesis was that.
Yeah.
big.
Yeah. That was like the Mt. Gox stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, a bit before, like just
Before
before they started the code. But yeah, I'm a crypto nerd too, but that's
yeah.
another topic.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
I could talk
the
for
end
that
of
for
the end of
hours.
our last podcast is all one of my training partners knows that he's into crypto and asked him about
Yeah.
the what
It was
SVB?
Silicon Valley Bank. Yeah.
Silicon
and then
Valley
what's
Bank
happening
and the break
and
and
signature
then
and
some crypto questions.
And then they just went on. Yeah.
So
I
the
know.
last
We'll
10
keep
minutes
it.
of
We'll
the
keep it jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
The last 10 minutes of the podcast are him talking about crypto. But go back and tell us, you said something about, I started with MMA, but I got away from it. I know why you got away from it. Let's tell everybody what happened and why you stuck with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So I started doing MMA. So trying to but I was not trying. I was trying to get better at jiu-jitsu mainly because it was the thing that was the most fun for me. But I enjoyed learning a few, we were doing 2 or 3 classes a week of MMA for kind of beginner intermediate. So get in shape and learning a few combo with your hands and kicks and stuff like that. Practice with it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I would maybe at some point go back to learning boxing just for fun. But yeah, and we would spar once or twice a week. And I was really horrible, like anyone starting. And I would do it weekly. It would be fun. I was enjoying it. I was not thinking necessarily about competing, but I was just I'm going to keep doing this. So one day I get to a sparring session and I'm boxing a guy, and it's we're going kind of hard, but not too crazy. We're we shouldn't end up with concussion, right? It's going okay. And then I remember he goes I think he feints a jab or something. I'm I'm gonna I learned this. I'm gonna slip the jab and throw a right hand over the top. But at the same time I do that, in my head it sounds great, but as I did, he just throws a straight right down the middle.
Wow.
Into my nose, and I feel like stunned for a second, and then he looks at me and he goes is your nose like that usually? I'm oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
So I'm no, I don't know what you're saying, but I don't think so. So we go to the mirror, and my nose is I don't know how to do the shape, but it's crooked completely,
Wow.
broken, and I'm oh fuck. So I'm kind of panicking. I'm I gotta go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then he comes to me, the same guy that just broke my nose, and he's I could put it back in place for you. I'm
No.
no, exactly. I'm I don't think that's a good idea. And then the coach at the time, Neil Shepard, he's still there. He still coaches. Comes to me and he's this guy's a surgeon.
Oh.
I'm what? You're a surgeon for real? He's yeah, I'm a surgeon. So I'm all right, I guess let's do it. So he just lays me on the mats and grabs his 2 thumbs and just push it in there. And I just heard everything cracking, kind of getting back in place. Then look in the mirror. He's kind of straight. I'm yeah, not too
Kind
bad.
of straight.
Kind of straight. Canadian
It's not
healthcare.
Yeah, it's not too bad,
Yeah.
but that's the universal healthcare for you. They just put it back in place.
Yeah.
In the gym.
I was so my low hanging fruit for that was I would have said no because I live in Montreal and I pay crazy taxes to have free healthcare. So I was I'm just gonna go to my free hospital that I pay taxes for. I'm not gonna let.
Yeah,
That's
but
where I was gonna go.
I would down here we'd be yeah, put it back. 'cause-
Yeah. Down here, that's a different story. I said no up there because it's I'm gonna just go.
Yeah.
To
What-
Well,
rural-
What else do
misconception
they
is
do? What else do they do for a broken nose? Is that put it back and then you just got to let it heal? There's nothing
I
really.
think so.
so yeah. So look, since it was on the mat like this, and just put it back, and then he was oh, come see me if you have any trouble or whatever. I did not take him up on the offer. Unfortunately, now I'm regretting it actually. Reason why is if I would have went to the hospital, and just to get back to what you were saying, yeah, it's free and we pay massive taxes, but it's I would have waited there probably 12 hours. So I was
Whoa.
yeah, it doesn't go fast enough. Whatever, that's another topic to another podcast. But so I was oh, it's it looks straight, so I'm fuck it, I'm not gonna go do the extra because I think they put you like they have to go with like I don't know something in your nose, and they have to really make it that your septum is like straight.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have done it because now it's almost not deviated, but it's just enough. So I get trouble breathing through the nose sometimes, through one nostril, and it's really annoying. So I'm actually gonna do it. Go back to the hospital at some point and get it straight.
They have to re-break it, right? I mean, they have to re-break.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but like they
Sucks.
I think they like put you out, right? Then they break it, and then you're like stuck with like something like clots, like and stuff in your nose for a few weeks, and not the nicest thing, but
I've seen when people pull them out. I watched the videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
When they pull the cotton swabs out.
Yeah.
And it's like super bloody and just like it's gnarly. Yeah.
That's every girl that's ever gotten a nose job. It says
Dude,
I had a deviated septum, right?
Rhinoplasty is no joke. I used to watch those surgery videos too on YouTube, and when they take a chisel to like being a plastic surgeon or an orthopedic surgeon, if you watch those videos on YouTube, like they use sledgehammers.
It's medieval, man.
It's crazy.
What if you showed up at the hospital and it was the old training partner and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Round two.
well,
surgeon.
you know, I would feel confident because the same guy actually did both my knees when I had the meniscus surgery.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we got that bond, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hey, listen, you should have got your nose done when you did your knees.
Hey,
I should have.
Listen,
But
punch
it's
me
like,
in the face and fix it again.
fucking, it sounds like a childhood song with this guy getting surgery. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Do all of
no,
it.
exactly. It's meniscus is not too bad, but so just to like finish up on that story is like so that happened, right? And I couldn't really spar for like and have contact for like more than a month. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna drill jiu-jitsu, like do more classes, and like I was like, fuck striking for now. Like it kind of obviously, like I was getting more into jiu-jitsu, and then even when I healed up, I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing this because then I started thinking about competing, and it started becoming more serious even after a few months, you know. So that's what happened. Yeah.
So I always say there are two categories of people that start jiu-jitsu or that try to get into jiu-jitsu. And it's either you love it or you hate it. This is not a sport where you'll go, I'm going to go to a class once every couple of months or for a week every couple of months. You're just never going to do it. You said, did you really fall in love with it day one? Did you know like, oh, wow, I'm definitely coming back?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So like my first ever experience with martial art, I didn't say that earlier, but like was like, in college, I had the judo class as a filler class, or I don't know how you call that, but like
elective.
Yeah, exactly. So I decided to I was like, oh, judo, I'm gonna try. You know, it might be fun, and it was the first time I rolled. Kind of, we were like doing pins and stuff like that, but it was not like jiu-jitsu exactly. But I already kind of liked it, and then the first class I had in jiu-jitsu, I'll remember forever, and it was just like you said. I loved it, and I was like obsessed right away. I was like, I want to get better at this. This is hard, and I feel better after, even if I just get the beat shit out of me, you know, like so.
It's kind of like hockey.
Yeah,
hockey's a tough sport.
It's a tough sport. Yeah, it is a tough sport, but
it's also
I started at like 4, so hockey. So I was like right away on skates. Like already, my dad was making us like. So like for me, like growing into the sport is different than and starting it. I feel it's like I know how to skate. So you put me on a skate, I know how to do it. But like jiu-jitsu is like, because I started late. I started at 21. I'm 29 now, and because I started late, I felt like, oh, this is really hard and new. So like I just felt like I had so much to learn and to do.
So what was it like training in that gym? Did you are you seeing GSP and Firas like training? Are you there to see training camps? Was there an experience there that you were able to train with them?
Yeah. So walking, I remember too, the first time I walked into the gym, I was like, it's pretty intimidating because it's like a hardcore gym, like it's not like the fancy jiu-jitsu nice gym, like
it's red and black
that has a lounge for coffee or shit like that. Like you enter and it's an MMA gym. So like just the environment was kind of intimidating a bit at first. And then Firas was there like every day, and he still is. He's he lives in the gym, man. He's always there. George GSP wasn't there because I started just after his Hendricks fight, and he kind of retired. So I think he took a bit of time off. But I saw him a few times, and I was like, yeah. And he gave a class, I remember, pretty early on when I started. So like you would see the pros, you would see people like the class. It's always been like that. It's like there's a like all level class, and like MMA guys come to the class, and you see like everyone. And for us, mostly give them. And it was crazy to be around that environment, because as a fan, as like someone who likes MMA, you
Right.
get there and then you start seeing the faces you've seen on TV, and then you kind of like you end up training with them. At first, I remember. Now it's like normal, right? That's just, these are my friends and it's my lifestyle. But like at the beginning, I was like, whoa, like it's so crazy, because I was really a fan, you know. So that changed, of course, but it's a good feeling to just thinking about it.
So when did you start thinking about competing? You know, even like local tournaments, and then really what brought you? How did you hook up with Danaher and that crew?
Yeah, so competing is I always like credit like two guys in particular. It's well, you guys know them, like Oliver Taza and Ethan Crowenston.
Yeah.
So when I started, they started just a little bit before me. So they were already like training a lot and like always being there. And obviously like through being there all the time, you get matched up with them sometimes. So you start talking, and they were really friendly. And one of the thing I always give them credit for is like they, even if I was like kind of a little bit out of, well, I was out of shape when I started, but like out of shape and like just like willing to be there, they would always bring me for extra classes, right? They would say like, oh, come to this classes or come drill before, or we'll do like situational. They would always do the extra work. And they were always very open-minded about having other people coming in, because they needed body. And at the same time, it's like you want to get better all together, right? It's the good gym culture you should have. And so it started with them, because I got into training more and more. I was like, oh, shit, you can actually train like every day, you know? Like, and then not only you can train every day, but like they started like telling me like, hey, if you want, like there's a competition coming up, you should do it. And I was like, I never thought about competing at all. Like I competed in hockey and other sports, but for me, I was just getting there to have fun and get in shape. And then they kind of pushed me into my first competition. So I did it 6 months after starting, and it actually went well. Like I won my division at white belt, whatever. But that feeling made a big difference, I think, because I was like, look, from what I know, from what I train in the gym and having the guys around and like going and competing, I'll remember that forever. It's like, it was such a good moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I want to start doing this. This is too good. You know, it's like, it feels too good. So that's where it started. Yeah.
And how did you make you made your way to New York? Was that your first stop?
Oh, so
at Henzo's and John?
Yeah. Yeah. Henzo's and John, it was a bit different. It was like, that was a bit later. I was like in Blue Belt. I've been training for like maybe a year and a half. And we were really lucky because we had well, first of all, for us as a black belt under John, so we had that connection. And then we had a training partner in the UFC, Tom Breeze. He's from England. He was training at TriStar back in the days. And he would travel to New York, and he knew Gordon pretty well, because he would train with him. And Gordon was a purple belt at the time, and he would always tell us about Gordon. He'd be like, this guy's so good, you guys have no idea.
Skinny Gordon.
So at some point during his training camp, he brought him in for a week or something like that. Brought him in. He was living in the dorms, brought Gordon in the dorms. And like first night Gordon arrives, me and Taz are on the mat, and Gordon's there, and like he's just like smashing everyone. And he, like, remember, he's a purple belt, like tall, skinny at the time. And we're like, just like, what is going on? So we roll with him and we spend the night with him. And he showed us a lot of stuff. And then, so we got to meet Gordon. And then for us at the same time, I think it was before or after, but he brought Eddie Cummings. Yeah, I think it was a bit before. He brought Eddie Cummings, Gary Tonin for seminars. and you had Eddie Cummings stay a week with us to learn leg lock, and that's like 7 years ago. It was just started, like Eddie was not even in the EBI yet. So we had that environment, like being connected directly to New York, like the new leg lock thing coming up, and we were directly into it. And then Gordon coming and Taza getting friend with Gordon. Basically, Gordon invited him at the house, and that's where it started. Like Taza started to go New York first, then Ethan, then myself, and then we just started doing round trip. And I met Nicky Ryan through Gordon, obviously, and I became like really good friend with Nicky. And at the time, it's crazy. He was like 13 when I met him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but he was like already like a beast and super cool guy, and we've been friends since then. And and just I couldn't stay like longer time, like because I had a job and stuff like that at the beginning, so I couldn't stay as much as like Taza would go for months almost. I would go like a few weeks, come back, go a few weeks, come back, and and we got to train with all the guys and see everything coming up from the Blue Basement.
You mentioned dorms. Did they have? I know, like we live very close to American Top Team where we are. I'm very close.
They built
it's
a
like
hotel
it's the next town
door.
over. Yeah, like they have like dorms in the gym. Does Firas have something like that? Explain the dorms or talk about that.
Yeah, so TriStar dorms, it's like in the same building as TriStar, and it's like just like next door. And there was always people like fighters. There was like few era, and it changed a lot over time, but like it's still open, and there's like people traveling from everywhere, amateur or like pros, and they stay in the dorms. It's a good way to get used to the gym and the environment, without having to spend like crazy money. And yeah, so I think just like ATT or other gyms have that.
Okay. Now, if we could fast forward, I'm like, we started talking about Nicky Ryan. So right now, this whole B Team New Wave thing. So where are you officially training? I put in our announcement, like I said, B Team regular, because we didn't get to talk, and I wasn't 100% sure. Like, you're always there? Are you still like consider yourself a TriStar? Tell us where you are right now. Where do you train on a daily basis?
Pick a side.
Yeah. Well,
that's exactly what I'm going to do.
We'll get into the new wave, I guess, side of it too. But where the heck are you training, and like who's your
more
camp?
out of curiosity.
Yeah. No, so my home is Montreal and TriStar. That's my home gym, and that's where I train mostly out of the year. You're right when you put B Team regular. I'm like a B Team regular. I last year I dropped in like a bit more than almost 3 months overall during the year. Mm-hmm. This year I've dropped in for a month already, and so when they moved to Puerto Rico before the split, when the split happened, for me it was like quite simple. Like, of course I've trained with John, Gordon, Gary, and these guys have helped my game tremendously. So like I always respect that, but the whole thing was, for me, it was pretty simple. It was like Nicky Ryan and Ethan are my real good friends that I've known for a long time, and they're actually like really good friends. So for me, it was natural to go to B Team. Then for their own reason, they have like the whole split that happened, but like that's the reason why I started visiting B Team, because just friendship for me was number one. So I had to keep that. It's like a form of loyalty, just like I stay with Firas here in Montreal, and he's my coach. Like I wanted to get my black belt under Firas. It was important to me because like I said, I started day one, walked into TriStar, and I'm still there. I'm still training there, and it's my home gym. Yeah, so for me, that kind of loyalty was important.
So without getting into the details, I mean, they've like been on Lex Freeman recently, and everybody like they've talked about it to an extent. We don't have to go there, but what I'm curious about is, could you walk into are they still at Henzo's in Austin? They still train out of Henzo's, or do they like New Wave? Are they still in that Henzo's location?
Thank you to Feito IT and AV, specializing in commercial and residential automation, security cameras, CCTV, POS, and more. Check them out at feitoitav.com or call 305-428-3600. 888-2515 and let them know the dummy sent you. Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at TheBJJBox. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Yeah, so they, I think John trains. He teaches at Henzo's Austin, and the New Wave is actually basically the team.
Yeah,
is at Roca. That's the gym you see, like the pictures and where they train. So that's a separate gym, so another facility. And look, we have up and comers from TriStar, like purple belts that travel all the time to New Wave. And like I go at B team, these guys go at New Wave, but we're at the end of the day, like. We're TriStar guys. That's number one. And number two is like, yeah, we're allowed to go to one place or the other. I don't think I'm allowed to go back to New Wave probably because I kind of picked my side, right?
That's the question. That's the overarching question is like, could you walk in there and be like, hey, John, hey, Gordon, let's, you want to roll?
So I haven't tried, but I feel like maybe it could work with those glasses and the nose, like
with
if
the
I
mustache.
walk in.
When you get your nose fixed, when you get your nose fixed and you look different, then you go in there, you know?
It's not me, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe if I do that, they'll let me train. And then when they discover that it's me, we'll see what happens. But no, like all joke aside, like I've seen them a few times at competition. I know some of their students, like not all of them because they have a lot of new students, but like I'm cool with everyone. And it's like, it was never about me and what happened. Like I picked my side because of like my friendship towards Nicky Ryan and Ethan. And that's pretty much it. I don't think they would let me because it makes no sense for them, which I understand. It's like, if I'm going to represent B team when I'm like in Austin and like when I train and I talk about it and I post it on social, it makes no sense for them, you know?
So like when you guys, they're all in Austin. There's like, they could be in the same room and there's not going to be a rumble, right? I mean, it's
no, exactly.
There, right?
No.
It's like nobody hates each other, but it's like, let's respectfully go to
I think there's a few people that like have a little problem with each other, and it's one of the reasons why like the team split because it was a bunch of stuff coming up at the same time, and like in Puerto Rico while the COVID was happening. So I think it was a lot of like stuff that was brewing that happened, but then you see them like there's a jiu-jitsu event like every Thursday and Friday in Austin, like small, like on Enigma. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's like Thursday night, that's a 10 Planet, and then Friday night. And there's events all the time, and they see each other all the time. They shake hands. There's no
cordial.
It's not as bad as what we see on the internet. Just like anything in life, usually, right?
Does that add fuel to the fire when they see each other, or is everybody just like
people too
like
tired?
I could be my best friends in the world, we could really get under each other's skin and make fun of each other?
Yeah.
Like, is it like that? And it's or is it like, well, that was too far, and now now we couldn't be in the same room? Is it there? Because the shit is funny.
No, so I think
the stuff that's going back and forth right now is hilarious.
It's pretty funny.
We enjoy it.
Oh, I enjoy it too. I think it's pure entertainment. Like, I feel like most people that are not like directly involved, like myself, like I'm not directly involved, but I know stuff because I'm on the inside, kind of. But it's like I'm entertained by everything that happened. Like the Nicky Rod stuff, then the Craig is like he tries.
Yeah.
Craig is a mastermind at like just trolling people. He's the master troll.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
that Gabby Garcia
like,
stuff was great.
What's that?
The Gabby Garcia stuff with Craig Jones.
Oh, dude,
I can't get enough.
It's like everything that he posts is amazing. It's like it's really funny. So it's like, because I'm not involved, like I feel from the outside it's funny. I know some people like on the inside like maybe don't like it as much, but like, dude, when it was like the feud was going on recently, like really hard, I would walk into B Team because I was there at the moment, and I would just see Craig and Nicky Rod like chilling and having fun and enjoying this, So I'm not at New Wave, so I don't know how they take it. But to be honest, like I think it's the kind of stuff that you gotta laugh about, like you can't be too serious about it.
Go back to the time when the team is together.
Yeah.
And Gordon's always been like this with other people, though, right? With outsiders. Yeah. What was the feeling amongst those of you, his training partners, and if you can, like some insight from like what John thought. Were you guys like, oh, this is just too much? Why are you fighting with that person? Like, let's just roll. Like, did you guys have feelings about it, or was it the same? Like, oh, this is just funny. Let him do what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I think Gordon. Everybody knew that he was doing that to get not only some form of attention, but like preparing fights. He was selling like basically his persona and trying to get fights. And I think it worked. Like his fights with Pena, that's how he got it. Like talking shit about Galvao, about like everyone, and that was his route. Like I think he figured it out pretty early, and he was like Craig's route is fun. It's having fun and making fun of people. Gordon, it's the talk shit, and it's fine. I don't think
it's got financial motives.
Yeah, look, I wasn't there all the time in New York, but for me, I never had the sense like, oh, people are like, yo, you should stop this, or like, I think they were just like, he's doing his thing and it's working, and he's getting like, he's reaping benefits from it. That's the whole point.
A lot of people copying it.
Yeah. Craig Jones is a little bit. We talked about this a little bit on the last episode. Craig Jones is a little bit more self-deprecating. Like he could be making in front of somebody, and I said this on the last episode. Anytime the camera's zooming out while he's talking, I'm like, he's got no pants on. He's like, it's like, here we go. If he's attacking somebody, there's something in that video that's gonna make where he's gonna make in front of himself. Yeah. And that's like my favorite kind of humor. Like, okay, he doesn't really take himself so seriously. Like, so we enjoy that. I think we both kind of resonate with that.
That was a question I asked. I was like, out of the whole podcast, who do you resonate with more?
Yeah. So we enjoy that more.
Yeah, and like Craig is smart because that type of humor, what it does is like no one can really attack you on much. Like they can't really make fun of you because you're doing it for them before they can even do it. So he's like, it's just smart. It's like
the Eminem model. Did you ever see 8 Mile?
Yes.
Right at the end, he raps, but he says, "I know what you're about to say about me," and he rips on himself and just gives you no fuel. You have no ammunition because he's already made in front of everything that you could possibly make fun of about him. So that is true. Like nobody's ever firing shots at Craig Jones, right? I mean, it's a nice guy, and he's already made fun of himself. Yeah. I
mean, Gordon did, but it's like. The thing is, Gordon can only what Gordon does usually is he's going to attack people on their skill level, on like their achievement. And look, he can say like Craig's a loser. He can say like Craig doesn't do well or whatever. But at the end of the day, like I think 99% of people in jiu-jitsu will say like Craig's pretty damn good, and he showed he's damn good. And on top, he's funny. It's like he's hard to attack because of that. It's because he's a fan favorite. That's
I think he can beat him.
I made a very bold accusation about Gordon on the last episode, and it was that I think he's a fucking nice guy. when I watch him do this, if you see a video of him talking, I feel like he's uncomfortable. I feel like he's uncomfortable when he's being the heel. When he's in an interview and he's like, he looks uncomfortable. I accuse him of, he's a nice guy. I could see this uncomfortableness. And I've heard people say, he's a nice guy. This is, again, about selling the fights. He looks uncomfortable doing it. And I've never met him, but I'm saying, I think it's because he's a nice guy. And this is uncomfortable for him to go that far out and try to be that much of an asshole.
Yeah. Look, potentially, I think I haven't been with him in forever. His last time was in Puerto Rico like 2 years ago. I think like in the jiu-jitsu room, one thing that I could say like that was positive about him was like he was always willing to help and very like that he had it, you know, like if you had questions and stuff like that, he would always help. Then as a person, I've never hang out with Gordon, so like outside of the jiu-jitsu room, so like you hear stuff from other people, hearsays and stuff like that, so it's hard. I think he's like you said, I think any interaction with people, he's always a bit like you don't know what angle he's gonna take. Maybe he's uncomfortable. I don't know. Maybe he's uncomfortable talking to people. Like who knows, you know? But like in the jiu-jitsu room, yeah, it wasn't like he was never a dick to me at the very least, you know. But yeah, then you hear some stories and stuff like that. So like, what are you gonna do? Like, what do you know? And then it's hard, you know. It's like, is it true? Is it not? Like,
it's lonely at the top. That's what it is.
How is that room like when you go to train at the B team? What's different about training there and when everybody trained together? What was the atmosphere like now?
Yeah, so the B team atmosphere is amazing. Like in the sense where like it's really a good vibe. Like it's like most people are friends. Like they're together to train together, and like obviously you have guys like Craig who can like make fun of everyone, and then like everybody has their personality and it really shines in my opinion. So it's like really fun to train there, and it's hard training too. That's one of the reasons why I go, and I always go with like some questions and I always learn some stuff because I say it all the time, but like Nicky Ryan shaped my game a lot, and because I've known him for so long and we've exchanged it, and I feel like his style of passing helps mine, and so I come to him, got some questions. Craig's always trying to innovate on new stuff, man. He's always like, oh, I might check this out, and then you go and he shows you new stuff. So it's really good. The difference I would say is like when it was everyone together, it was John was running the class. You know, he's the coach, he's the head coach. So the difference with B team is like you don't have one head coach, you have multiple guys that exchange together. So I like the environment of like getting together and trying to figure out stuff. John would do the same, but like he would pick, let's say like, oh, Gordon, Gary, or like Nicky, like try this out, and they would still exchange and do stuff, but it was mostly run by John. He is a mastermind, right? At what he does, it's not like it's not bullshit, you know. Like anyone knows now because they can see the teaching, but that's the main difference.
I know that you said this, and I know that I agreed with you about Nicky Ryan. It seems like, again, from the outside, maybe looking in, he's a pretty amazing coach. It feels like
he's got a beautiful mind.
I think he's if there was somebody, tell me if I'm wrong, if there's somebody that would rise to the top in the next 5 years as a coach, it seems like maybe that it would be him. Would you agree with that, or are we again? We're outsiders looking in.
Yeah.
He just seems like he says like he has this beautiful mind about jiu-jitsu. Yeah. It's different when you hear him talk about it.
So in regards to Nicky Ryan coaching, I would say like, so first of all, I think he's definitely some like on the same level as his brother and John, like some kind of genius in jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. Like he understands stuff like really, really well, and he applies it really, really well by having like he started pretty young, right? So and he's always trying to incorporate new techniques and new stuff. He's trying to get better all the time. So I think that makes for, and he's an amazing teacher, so that makes for a great coach. Although I think he's not done with his competitive career, even if like a lot of people look at it and they're like, oh, he didn't do well at ADCC and then he hasn't really competed much and all, like he had the knees injuries and all that stuff. But like Nicky, and if you watch the Lex Freeman podcast, he talks about it. Like he knows he needs to compete, and needs to get out there and just get into his rhythm, and it will happen, I believe. He's like only 21, like so he has so much time, and like
he's a baby.
People forget, like
you forget.
you're 21, you're gonna turn maybe 22. It's like his best years are ahead of him. Like I'm gonna turn 30 pretty soon, and I feel the best shape I ever been. I feel like my jiu-jitsu and my physicality come together now at 30.
And your brain.
So. And my brain, exactly. Yeah. I think it's a mix of everything, right? You become more mature. So that guy that started young, that has like still, unless he like obviously, hopefully he doesn't keep injuring himself. He's doing well right now. But like if this guy keeps competing and he's going to be an amazing competitor, he is already, and he's going to be even bigger than that. And then I think later on, you'll find that he becomes like an amazing coach for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like when I hear him talk about jiu-jitsu and his coaching, like not his coaching style, because I mean I only see him on the side of the mats and he rarely says anything, which is like always funny with these high competitors. But it's like when he's talking about jiu-jitsu, it's almost like he sees it like how I said last. He sees it like abstract. He doesn't like he understands all the variables, and he could just like no bullshit tell you like that is not gonna work for you right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. That's what I feel like.
Again, I mean, we're outsiders, but I think the podcasts that we hear and when we hear people talking about them, I think that we get that sense. But let's move on to, with that, we do not have to talk about particular people, but what is your opinion about steroids in jiu-jitsu right now? Obviously, the recent USADA and IBJJF, yes, it's a hot topic. What are your thoughts on having to compete against somebody who might be doing steroids versus, people that don't touch anything, that are completely natural?
Yeah, it's a great question, especially with everything that's happening. Like recently we had like people got caught and all that shit. Look, I think I can speak for any athletes that are natural, especially. We all have the thought at some point, should I do it? Like I had that conversation with myself at some point. I was like, everybody's on gear, like everybody. Most people like at the high level are on gear because we don't test. There's no like almost no test beside like IBJJF Worlds, and which is pretty recent. And it's like, so you tell yourself, all right, because they don't test, obviously people will do it, which makes sense for most people. But like, I think a lot of athletes have that conversation with themselves, and then they realize, like, if you look at the incentive, it makes more sense to do steroids. But I'm not saying to do steroids. I'm not telling people to do steroids, but that was my thinking. And then I was like, the issue. I just got a cat right there that's trying to come in.
I thought I heard one.
Yeah. So the issue with that, in my opinion, is like, well, for me, it was my health. It's my long-term health. And it's like, I'm a research guy. I like to do some research and like try to figure out stuff. I'm going to pick him up.
That's okay. Right. Bring him in. We got a new guest. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Look at this, yeah. He's a ugly one, but
no, he's not. That's a great-looking cat.
Yeah. All right. So just to get back, sorry guys.
That's okay.
Yeah. So like for me, it was like long-term. So
Health,
like thinking
right?
of like what's my dream. What I want to do with my life, right? And like long-term health is more important to me because I know I'm going to compete like for a few years more. And then at some point I'm going to teach and I'm going to like, I want kids. I want more than just competing, right? There's more to life after. And because I know this, I don't want to take the gamble of doing steroids. So then coming to your question, like, okay, you have that conversation. A lot of people, I think, will be like, my dream is to win ADCC, is to be the best, so I'm going to take steroids like my idols do, right? And then it gets to the point where you go out and you compete against people, and yeah, they'll be on gear. Does it affect me? Not really, in the sense where, look, if it's IBJJF Worlds and it's in the rules, yeah, you shouldn't be on gear. It's cheating. And it's cheating even in ADCC, even if it's not in the rule. I think you're enhancing your body to a crazy extent, which is not normal for a human being, right? We have ranges. That's where there's ranges. You can be at both hands, right? But I'll never make an excuse of losing because someone's on steroids, because most of the competition, they don't test and it's allowed. So for me, it's like just I know I can beat guys on steroids by being more technical, more strategic, more like it's not just about being physical, right? Everybody knows jiu-jitsu is not just about being physical. Although, like if I qualify for ADCC and I get there, like I know it's going to be hard because like those guys, like at ADCC especially, it's like it's the place where everybody's on gear and the biggest issue.
It's the steroid Olympics.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the steroid fest. But the biggest and main issue, in my opinion, is not is it allowed or not. The biggest issue is like once it's not like they don't put any guideline. People, it's a contest of who shoot more gear and not just like, okay, let's say everybody in the 77 kilo division are allowed like 200 milligram of TRT, let's say, okay? Then it would be an even field. But the thing is like life is not even, like I don't have the same testosterone that you do. And then the second thing is like some guys have access to like better products than other, and they start shooting like instead of shooting like 200 milligram, well, they shoot 700-800 because they're like, I can't, so I'll do it, right? Look at the Liver King. He was like injecting like $20,000 of HGH in his gut per month because he's rich and his whole brand is around his abs and his
he's wealthy,
weird body looking,
for sure,
right? So where I'm going with this is like the main issue that I have with that is like guys are willing to put their life on the line or their longevity by injecting more stuff than the other. So they make sure, like for Galvao to say that Gordon was strong, imagine that. Did you guys see how they looked at ADCC? Yeah. Like it's not just
he was the first. Galvao was. I'm sorry to interrupt. Galvao was the first guy and the first major gym to really get trolled online for everyone being on steroids, or at least making the accusation,
being juicy,
right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and look, like we know how they look. Like they're not natural. Everybody knows, and like Gordon's open about it. He tells everyone that like basically doing steroids is not cheating because it's not in the rules. And then you look at those guys, but on top, it's not just about being technical. Like for sure, technicality is good, but like if I'm shooting 10 times the amount that my other buddy's shooting, I'm gonna be way stronger. I'm gonna be recovering way faster. But then you pay the price at some point, you know? Yeah. And I think some people are ready to do that gamble. And that's the biggest, for me, it's like the thing where I'm like, even if I go to ADCC and I shoot steroids, I'll never shoot as much as maybe the other guy. So now it becomes like, what's the incentive? It's like, oh, you got to do more to be better. And it becomes an escalation.
Yeah. And so the way I think about this is, do you think this is the beginning of the discussion of making jiu-jitsu a professional sport in America?
So by professional, you mean like with USADA and like stuff like that, random tests?
Yeah, and you don't pay $200 to win a $5 medal and then get tested.
Yeah, that's crazy for sure. Like that, I understand that people were like, you shouldn't like get tested if you're paying to compete. I understand that.
And I agree with you 100%. It's cheating. 100%. But what I'm saying is I feel like this is the beginning. Like we're living through the beginning stages of jiu-jitsu becoming, this is the make or break moment of making jiu-jitsu either professional or it's going to keep going. It's going to be a fucking shit show for however long.
I think it could be the beginning, like you said, but I don't see it in the next 5 to 10 years becoming yet like that professional level. Because I think it's
And wait, can I throw something in real quick, Pierre?
Absolutely.
When you're saying the pro thing, because we discussed this a lot in the last episode, but when you're saying the pro, are you kind of just talking a little bit more about the IBJJF and that format and those guys? Because you said like because there are pros you could fight in one championship, you can fight in WNO. I consider that the pros already.
Yeah, but right? WNO, that's a stupidity test, right? Like you could take roids there all you want.
Well, again, that's the thing though. That's pro, and their rules are their rules.
Yeah.
But I think when you talk about should they become pro, are you really talking about it more?
I'm talking about like
IBJJF. You're not considered a pro, but then you're getting tested. No. You're getting, USADA could show up, at an event or at your house to test. I don't want to speak for you, but is that kind of what you were really saying last episode?
No, I mean like one league. I don't know which one's the winner yet. Yeah. It could be any of them. Yeah. I'm just saying like Okay, look, the fact that I could be a black belt, right, which I'm not, and I'm the same age as a lot of the really, really good black belts, right? Like I'm right around there. I'm 30, I'm 38, you know, so I'm right in that range. So like when I eventually become a black belt and I'm signing up for an IBJJF Masters 5 or whatever, I could like sign up as an adult black belt division and be 50 years old and go against, you know,
a pro.
Cole Abate.
Yeah.
Right, who
or somebody who's fought in one championship.
He'll be a black belt then. You know what I'm saying? He'll be a black belt in 2 years. But what I'm saying is, like, eventually, I could, like, we're the same weight. Like, eventually, I could sign up for an event and go with this friggin' hammer drill of a jiu-jitsu player.
Pierre, I kind of feel like, again, for me, I also have that argument. It is very strange that you can watch a guy potentially fight, like, again, in one championship, or a WNO, or fight to wins, and then I'm going to see that same guy
Naga
at a Naga or a new breed.
Yeah.
It's like, really? Like, do you really need the medal? Like, what? I mean, usually a guy's going to do a small local event because it's more about, like, okay, I got to represent for my sponsors. I think that there's a whole disconnect right there in that part of it. Like, I don't want to show up. Let's just say I'm the same weight as you. I don't want to show up at a tournament and see you standing across. I'm a hobbyist. I'm a 3-day-a-week guy. 4, I'm like, wow, I trained a lot this week. 1 hour a day, like, that's me.
I'm the opposite. I just
do
want
it
him to
at
get
9
paid.
years, like that's me. To show up against somebody who's doing it, like a professional, somebody who this is their job. They're training multiple times a day. You know,
they get paid
4-6 times a week. They're getting paid. They have sponsors. Really, should we really be on the same mat in that? Yeah, maybe in the gym, but should we really be training or competing at an IBJJF together? Does that make sense for either of us?
No, I totally understand. I think I agree with you guys. Definitely, like, just like you want your up and comers and the people that are maybe more hobbyists, if they want to turn more pro, like, you want them to have a transition, right, where it's possible. Right now, it's a bit of a shit show. It's like you go to some events and it's like a mix, and yeah, I think over time maybe we'll see more like professional league. I think ADCC in a certain way with the opens and with everything they're trying maybe to figure it out. I don't know how it's going to play out, but I think, yeah, for sure, like, it's going to be good if, like, we start, like, having it more, like, how could I tell that? Like, more professional in a certain way. But I think it will take time for sure.
I think maybe we disagree a little bit. Like, I believe that the ADCC side are the guys that, you know, or either pro or want to be pro, quote unquote pro.
That is a pro event.
I think the WNOs, the fight to wins, maybe not as much, right? It's hey, local guy, you know, comes out.
Yeah,
maybe
that's a local circuit.
More of like a WNO and
one championship,
and the one championships and things like that. Those are the pro guys. But the fact that somebody that really, like the Rotolos, right, could actually show up at a new breed, a Naga or an IBJJF and sign up, and they would roll again. That just doesn't make sense. Not that they would do it, but it does kind of happen every once in a while. You're like, what is that guy doing on this?
Well, you saw like Cyborg at Grappling Industries is a good example, like recently.
Was he?
Yep. Or
he did like a absolute like Grappling Industries and just like.
But was it a super fight or was it actually like he was part of the tournament?
No, it was like a bracket. Yeah, it was a bracket. Although like Dante was in it and they had a close match, really close match, no points scored. But like the rest of the guys were just like regular dudes, you know?
Yeah.
Warm up
I guess,
rounds.
I mean,
I understand your point. It's like it shouldn't happen, but like to prevent it, you would have to have like leagues and like a federation and stuff like that. So then we become like we go into the pro and amateur.
The discussion. The PJJ, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I remember it just kind of like jogged my memory. We had Wagner come in. Wagner was on the show. And he talked about what they called it. I don't know if you know. They called it like there was a time where they called themselves the Avengers. It was like Wagner, Jay-Z, Cyborg. Like those guys would travel around doing tournaments, and this is how they would make. They might make a little bit of money. Maybe there was a super fight here and there, but they would do the tournaments and go around.
No, they do the paid tournaments, and they just clean house.
Yeah, and they would go clean house. And he said like they would show up. and people would go, like drop out of the bracket and leave. Like again, like it was happening back then. Again, I think it's strange. I think it does, like, once you, with like amateur athletes, I think like the Olympics kind of, maybe, I don't want to say they had it right, but like in the U.S., we never let our pros into the Olympics, right? You had to be an amateur to be in the Olympics, and there was like a, then they started letting the basketball players play and stuff like that. But I think, it's like once you're being paid to do this as a job, again, there's a fine line, I guess, you're a pro. Like, you're a pro, and you should stick with these events and like let the hobbyists be over here
or meet certain criteria.
And by the way, I know that I say that, and there are some hobbyists out there be like, "Fuck no, my jiu-jitsu's just as good as that guy," and I'll fight him.
Okay.
I'll fight. Yeah. Okay. I get it. You're supposed to say that. You're a tough guy. Great.
I've woken up from a choke too. Yeah, I get it.
I
had that dream.
I don't. I guess we could talk about it all day, but I appreciate your take on it. I think. I had a heart attack, and I competed one time after that, and I didn't compete anymore. My cardio just, like, my body changed, the cardio just changed. And by the way, I attribute it to steroids in my 30s. I'm going to be 50 this year. I did steroids in my 30s, and I fucked up my body a lot. I attribute the heart attack to that. I've had to have lumps taken out, under the chest because of, shit that happens after you go off.
Damn.
So when you say that you don't take it, that that you're thinking about your health, I've went the 10 years. I went the 10, 15 years and had health issues. So I'm glad when somebody looks at it and says, is it really worth it right now? Do I want to make $1 million from a flow grappling contract but die when I'm 50? No.
That's the thing. I think like a lot of people see it like, especially when you're younger, like you feel like this is your only shot at like money and the way you do it. But like getting money it's not just about like being a successful athlete, it's about more things than that. It's about like building like relationship, following, like there's so many ways to make money. You don't have to like shoot steroids to do it. But I understand it can fast track for sure.
You seem like you want to be happy forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I feel it.
I think kids feel invincible, though. Like these younger guys that do it, they're not. They're absolutely not thinking right. When we were 20, when I was 20, when you were 20, I mean, you were in the service. I'm sure you felt invincible, and you're doing crazy shit.
I did not feel invincible.
No, you didn't?
I was getting shot at.
You were getting shot at?
Yeah, you don't feel invincible.
Watch cleaning out a truck with body parts.
I'm like, it'll work itself out. No big deal. Like, I just didn't give a shit. Again, I was like, everything always works itself out. Why wouldn't this? And never thought that far forward about anything.
Hey, can you guys just give me 1 minute? I'm just going to get the door. I'll be right back.
Do your thing.
Super cool so far. Dude, you got to do SpongeBob. You got to throw the SpongeBob. You know the cut screen? It's like 1 hour later. With the bubbles.
1 hour later.
We should be like
3 hours
when he
later.
Back, we should be like this, like cut it back.
All right, sorry guys.
No, it's okay, man.
Forgot it was locked.
No, listen, that's a perfect opportunity to get into some listener questions.
The drill down?
Let's do it.
No, not the drill down.
Not the drill down.
We're going to do some listener questions.
All right.
Not the drill down.
You may or may not. Not the drill down.
Not the drill down.
So we have a question from, his name is Hansa Statch. You know who this is?
I know Hansa. Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it funny that we know people by hashtags? Yeah. I mean by like their
that's his name, Hansa Statch.
Oh, really?
I believe that's his name. I saw the handle, and then that was his name.
All right, well, let's not dox the
He
guy,
says, so I'm going to read it as he wrote it. He says, how to force smash position. Do you know what that means? Smash.
Yeah.
Smash. He spelled it correctly, not with the E. How to force smash position, preferably as many options as possible. I guess he's asking your opinion on doing like a nice smash pass.
Okay, so Hansa, I know him. He's from Czech Republic. So he wants to know the smash. I've gave seminar at his school actually in Czech Republic, and I think smash position or like any some of like form of pressure passing. I think my biggest advice I could tell people is like, I personally don't like approaching pressure passing with butterfly hooks and 2 knees in front when someone's in guard, or some kind of full guard or like fully established face-to-face position. I know like Nicky Rod really likes that. He's really good at it. Personally, I struggle too much with this position. So what I try to do to set up my body locks is I try to set them up from like any form of like kind of half guard position, where I use setups of like loose passing. So going side to side, trying to force someone on their back, moving their legs away from, or like their feet away from me. So as they recover guard, I can change level and then go into either like tight waist, body locks, and position that are like kind of like pressure pass position, or like collapse the knees together to one side to force them to react, and then get some form of like control on the hips, which then I can lead to like a chest to chest position and passing. So I'd say biggest advice is mixing it up. Like if you're able to mix up, like if you watch what Gordon does, but like other people too, it's like what Nicky does is like you set up your position from forcing your opponent to kind of react to regain their guard, and as they do so, you change your level, and then you get hip controls. Yeah.
Are you traveling a lot to do seminars?
Yeah. Fortunately, I've been traveling a lot in Europe to do seminars over the years, and right now I'm like really booked in the next few months in Canada, especially.
Congratulations.
Which is great. It's like it seems like everyone texted me at the same time, and we're like, "Hey, we want a seminar." I'm like, "Okay." So, really nice in my own province, and a bit in the other places. I just came back from Saskatchewan last week to give a seminar. It was like amazing people. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm lucky to be able to do that.
What's your approach when you're rolling with guys at a seminar? Do you try to like roll with a lot of the students? Do you get a chance to roll with those people?
Yeah. My seminars always consist of like kind of 2 hours technique, maybe a bit more depending. Like I always write down like what I want to do, and then a bit of Q&A, and then we do rolls. I used to roll with almost everyone. I can't do that anymore. I just feel like my body's going to be broken because I train like really hard during the week. So what I do is I'll do a few rolls, just like a normal session. And just like in Saskatchewan, I ended up wrestling with a lot of the guys because I was trying to, I'm working a lot on my wrestling, and I ended up wrestling with some like university kid that has like a wrestling experience. It was really fun. So it's like I approach it just like as normal training. Do
you find that every once in a while you run into somebody that's like they're gonna roll a little extra hard with you because of who you are, right?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Like that, you get that all the time. I got that in like almost like it depends. Like some gym really have a good culture about like kind of warming up into the roll, and then you start going harder, which is I love that. It's the easiest in my opinion. But like I had some guys that just throwing everything at me, even if like they're 100 kilo, like 200 pounds, 230. Wow. They're like, all right, I'm gonna kill this guy. But I'm like, all right, I'm here. I'm in the role, so I'm going to kill you. Yeah. That's how I see it.
Is Craig Jones has a funny thing that he said, doesn't he say like
just get up?
Doesn't he like he talks about maybe like trying to he doesn't roll with everybody anymore, but I think he said something about like he'll try to like finish you with like the weirdest or craziest or basically something that's like embarrassing
demoralizing
to you. Demoralizing, that's a good word. Demoralizing? Is that what he does? Do you know anything about that?
Craig does that to everyone in the gym every day. So there's absolutely no difference.
No, really.
With a seminar or
it's not a strategy.
Yeah, he tries to hit you with the worst, weirdest shit you've ever seen, and then you feel bad about yourself.
Has that happened to you? What's the worst thing he's ever thrown at you?
Oh yeah, he submitted me with some weird stuff. I don't even know like last time I was there, like sometimes you just start attacking you while you're like sitting and not even drilling yet, and then it's like you got to defend yourself, and then I don't know, he put me in some weird like I felt like a pretzel, like basically knee to my face, kind of a triangle position.
That's what I was gonna say, triangle.
He was like wrist locking me at the same time, and he's so strong that
and he's
not
big
much
too,
you can
right?
do sometimes.
How much does he weigh?
What's that?
He's big too, right?
He's like 205 right now, I think. Yeah, 200, 205, yeah.
Broad. I'm going to tell my kids
Big
he's
boy.
the Crocodile Dundee, man.
All right, let's jump into our next session. Brahim Skenderi says, my question for Pierre is, what is your training schedule? There are three questions here. Training schedule. How often per week do you train and manage the intensity? And do you go hard all week? Or do you have like a fixed schedule, like I'm going to roll hard on this day?
Okay, so I have a fixed schedule about my training, but not necessarily about how hard I go. That I play it by ear because there's some days I wake up and I'm just like, I feel great. And some other days I wake up, I'm like, I feel completely the opposite. So depending. But I know that I have some session and some days that are going to be hard. Like I know for a fact that my Monday is hard and my Tuesday is hard. So Wednesday, usually I take it a bit more easy. I'll play more guard, like chill, maybe do less rounds. And as far as like going back, how much do I train? So I used to do a lot, like as an up and comer, like 2 sessions every day and sometimes even 3. I don't do that anymore. I think it's like not only too much volume will wear you down, and then you start going into overtraining, and then injuries happen, right? It's a cycle, very simple cycle that I would say most jiu-jitsu people that like trains a lot or train seriously, like to, let's say, to become competitors, will get into. And everybody that competes have been into that cycle. And I've been in that cycle so much that I got a lot of injuries early on, and it was all because of that, in my opinion. It's like accidents suddenly happen more when you overtrain, right? So are they accident? Not really. You could probably figure it out by being more relaxed. So what I do is like I'll train like, let's say 2 jiu-jitsu on Mondays. Like I do a noon session, a 6 p.m. session. I teach at night, and then I'll train or not at night, depending how I feel. And then, so I do jiu-jitsu every day besides Sunday, kind of once a day. And then I add up conditioning. I'll do 3 to 5 sessions of conditioning per week. But that intensity too is mixed. Like I'm not lifting 3 plates deadlifts every other day. You know, it's like if I feel tired, I'm going to do less intense work, but still I'm going to go and move my body a bit just to maintain strength and make sure I don't get injured. And then it just makes my whole week better lifting 2 or 3 times a week, because I feel like okay, my hips, my legs, everything is like strong, tight, and ready to go and train. And when I do train jiu-jitsu, I train pretty hard most of the time. But like there's some days really when I'm tired, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do rounds, but more like, you know, more relaxed, maybe go with lighter guys and stuff like that. But I like training hard. I think it's important.
Do you think that the weightlifting, the weightlifting helps with recovery, or
yes, so much
helps prevent or help with injury when you have an injury?
Yeah. So I have I think it helps really, really much, because jiu-jitsu is not like any sport, like wrestling, jiu-jitsu, any martial art is not good for your body. And like in the sense where we're always in the,
don't tell anybody. That's a secret,
sorry,
Pierre. What are you doing? That's our dirty little secret.
It is good. It is good, but it creates patterns in your body, right? We're a lot in the asymmetrical stance all the time, knees to chest, neck folded. So all these things, right? They have a cost over time. So for me, lifting or playing other sport or like doing conditioning is a way to undo all the bad that I'm doing in the gym. And I had chronic injuries from like my pelvis, and it's not like bad, you know, it's not like my joints are fucked up, but like from muscle soreness.
Yeah.
That shift a bit my pelvis, and then I get sciatica and stuff like that. I fixed it all by seeing physios and stuff like that. But on top, like having a routine of like stretching, a routine of like strength training. And that for me, if I don't do it, I see the difference right away.
And recovery methods? Like you do ice bath?
What's that?
Like recovery methods, like sauna, ice bath, massage?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a physiotherapist that I see every 2 weeks or 3 weeks that really help, like just realign stuff and make sure my body's good. Then ice bath from time to time. I loved ice bath for a long time. Just don't do it as much right now in my house. It's like kind of hard to do, but yeah, sauna is amazing. So like everything that I can throw in there to recover, but I feel the most important for me is weightlifting and stretching.
Good.
All right.
I'm on the right path then.
Mm-hmm. Gotta start.
Yeah.
All right. Our next question is from Derek Rules the World. After years of training, this is you. After years of you training, and you've achieved the black belt in jiu-jitsu, and you're now training with the best, despite your high level of expertise, are you still discovering new things about jiu-jitsu? If so, what's the most important thing you've learned recently?
That's a really good question. I like that question because it's funny because I was actually kind of thinking about it today on my ride back home, and I was like, it's crazy. Like, you know, the meme, like, it's not a meme, but like the saying, but to me, it sounds like a meme. It's like, oh, the journey starts at black belt. And it's like, it sounds so corny, right? But it's kind of true in a certain way, because not that it starts there, but it's like, you just realize, I've realized especially over the last year, how much I still need to do to get good. Because it's like, once you start rolling, when you think you're good, go and roll with better guys, and then you'll realize that you're missing some stuff. Or like compete and then lose against someone who's like as good as you, but like that exposed something in your game, and then you realize you can either be like, oh, it was just like shit that day, it wasn't my day, or you can be, wait a minute, like something happened, right? So there's still improvement to be made. So biggest thing for me is like being self-aware of my flaws and trying to patch them over time. So like when something happened, or like patterns, we all have patterns. So my patterns that come back when I'm fatigued, or where in a round where it's not going my way. So that, like, trying to patch that, and just adding technical moves, all the time, you know? It's like when I came back from Worlds, so mid-December, I came back to the gym and I was like, okay, I really want to get better at like some arm bars, like Choi bar and stuff like that from bottom, just for the fun of it. So I picked that and I started troubleshooting it with Firas, with my other training partners, and try to hit it in the gym, and not for it to become like my main tool, but for me to understand it if it happens to me, and to add to my arsenal. So I'm always trying to improve. It's like, sometimes it's going to be more like wrestling is my biggest thing, right? I have different goals over time, but like wrestling is like, I want to wrestle like way more every week. So this way, it's like, I'll feel confident once I start hand fighting with someone in a competition. It takes time. Those things takes time. So yeah, just keeping the mind, like trying to improve, like going with a purpose to your class makes a big difference.
So I wrestled a little bit in junior high school like 2 years, and then I thought it'd be cool to go out for football, and I sucked. I sucked at wrestling too, by the way. Miguel was a wrestler. When I hear jiu-jitsu people talk about, and I've had this question asked to me outside the podcast, when somebody says, oh, I train wrestling, what are you training when you say it? Is it about the takedowns? Is it about the scrambles? Are those the parts that we're calling wrestling?
Not exactly. I think like wrestling for me, when I train it, it's like, it all starts with the hand fight. So like I feel like getting better at hand fighting is the most important thing, because just like if you play open guard, like if you hand fight and feet fight pretty well, you're going to have entries. It's the same idea with wrestling. Mm-hmm. It's like, if I'm winning the hand fight, I pick to choose to go into my shot, then my takedown, then my, like if we scramble, then it's another thing. Scrambling in wrestling and in jiu-jitsu is a bit different because of the trend of submissions, right? So when I go and train wrestling, I have like every week we have Gia Cisaoro. He's like a silver medalist in the Olympic, and he's just out there in Montreal, right? Freestyle wrestler, amazing coach. And so we train with him, and he shows us like technical stuff. We bring questions, shows us technical stuff, and then we wrestle, but in a jiu-jitsu environment, where if you shoot on me and your setup is not great,
guillotine.
Might get guillotine. You might get like if we scramble, I might go into your leg, and then so it's more of a free environment, a bit like collegiate wrestling is a bit like that, right? In a certain way, like there's more than freestyle. You can do more than freestyle. So Yeah, that's what I mean by wrestling. So it's definitely the takedown, but it starts with the hand fighting. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen recently how much crossover there is between jiu-jitsu and wrestling? It's amazing.
Yes.
Like watching the collegiate wrestlers now, they're doing amazing things on the mat that like nobody would even think about to do when I was in high school. And it's a lot of it.
You feel like the jiu-jitsu based stuff?
It's 100% that. It's like they're even changing the names to certain moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good crossover, and then you get it because they train. They'll do jiu-jitsu and they'll do wrestling as well.
Yeah, I've seen recently like a video of a guy getting put in 50-50 and getting pinned from there in a wrestling tournament. That was like, I saw some in Manari too. Because the thing is, because you can like kind of put your back on the mat like differently than freestyle, I think. Or I'm not sure exactly. I don't
folk style. In folk style, you can. They have to hold you for them to get back points. So
exactly,
count,
right? So because of that, the rule set is more open, and then you see crossovers happening, and it's fun because for a long time people thought, okay, wrestling is kind of a game that has been solved, right, in a certain way, because you have to be a freak athlete, be good at wrestling, and then maybe you can make it. But now you see those kids coming up with like new stuff and like trying new stuff out. It's pretty cool.
A lot of judo too. They do a lot of uchimaras now from dogfight. They do a lot of inside leg reaps to get in, and that way they land anything to essentially make them land on their backs. Because that's the difference. Whereas in a jiu-jitsu guy, he'll turn. Like if I get shot at and then my hips get up from under me, I know I'm going down. I'm pulling guard immediately, and I'm breaking. I'm break falling, pulling guard at the same time, and then work from here. Whereas in wrestling, you immediately belly out.
Yeah, but you know what? I think there's going to be even some form of. Well, I think it started already, but like you're going to see the crossover from wrestling to jiu-jitsu, where guys now, because of ADCC rule set, I get taken down. I'm not putting my back on the mat because I'm getting scored if I do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going turtle basically, and then I'm going like stand up from there, undo the hands, undo the legs, and reshot. So we're seeing that in the modern jiu-jitsu game now. It's taking away from wrestling too.
Yeah, the double to single, I think, is probably like wrestling to jiu-jitsu. I feel like the double to single setup, like the shot reshot, like that's made a big difference in jiu-jitsu lately. Yeah,
I think the stance too is very different in wrestling and in judo, and then jiu-jitsu is like in the middle. You can be too low because you're gonna get your head guillotine, and like it's not sustainable over a 15-minute match, let's say. But like you can be too high where you can just get shot in. So it's like an in between, and then you see a mix up of like foot sweeps, judo, like throws, like so. It's kind of it's the middle of both sports. I like it.
It's I believe the same thing, especially even with just like a simple double leg, like you explained, because they'll bring in the judo. Sometimes you'll shoot on a guy and he's happy because what is it called? Oh my God, what's the one where they shoot a double leg and you essentially just throw him over with your foot over your head and then you land on top? Sumigaeshi. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
like that's on the table now. You know?
Yeah, exactly. It changes the whole thing. I like it. I think it's good for the sport.
All right, I have two more questions. This next one is from Betty Broadhurst, who is the founder of Roll Forever.
Roll Forever, my sponsor.
She says, ask Pierre, what is the weight of the heaviest opponent he's beaten by submission? I feel like this might be a story here.
I don't think there's a story, to be honest, but like, no, but that's a good question. I think I don't do a lot of absolutes, but I think I would say around like in competition, like something like 205 or 200. Yeah, I would say by rear naked choke. I think I remember that. It was a while ago though, but like I try to avoid a bit absolute because sometime after my division, I'm just wrecked and I'm like, I'm like 170, 175, right? So I'm like on the edge of like, I'm not light, but I'm not big either. So
what do you walk around at?
195.
Just trying to get the perspective, like the 175 is like a...
Yeah, but I think I'm like 2 inches taller than you, right? You're like 5'10".
Yeah, I'm smaller than that. I'm like 5'9". I say 5'9", it's probably 5'8".
Come on, man. You should have just said 5'10".
5'9".
We would have believed you.
Let's not get caught up in the details.
All right, we have one more question. This actually came from the Roll Forever account. I don't know if this would be Betty as well.
That's probably Betty.
Okay.
Yeah.
He says, Could you tell us why Quebec grapplers must travel outside of their province to compete? And does this prevent Quebec grapplers, due to the expense of travel, to miss opportunities and get experience?
Wait, what?
Okay, so this is a good day for this question, and here's why. Okay, so jiu-jitsu has been illegal in Quebec for 5 years. Like, not to
Competitions,
practice,
right?
competition, yeah, not to
Competitions,
practice
right?
in the
Okay.
gym, but competitions, yeah. And after 5 years, yesterday it basically became legal. Yesterday, so we're like, it's like breaking news right
Congratulations.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Finally. So it was a lot of work, a lot of talks, and like obviously the pandemic. Like there was never a good reason for it to be illegal, but you know how politics work, and they don't work very well in most places, and especially here, it's very slow because it's a heavy system of politics, so bureaucratic, very heavy. So it took time, but like finally it's happening. But the damage that has been done, because you guys remember I told you the story about the first competition I had.
Yep.
If it was not in Montreal, that competition, and it was like in New York, or I had to travel, I would have probably not do it. There's bigger chances that I would have not do it, because I was doing it for fun, right? So to tell me in the morning I could wake up in my own bed, take the bus, compete, then go have dinner with my family after, that sounds great. You know, it's not too complicated. But if you tell me I have to travel or take a plane and then spend maybe minimum $1,000 for a weekend trip, right, just to compete to see if I like it, I would have probably not do it, you know? And that's unfortunately the case for kids for the last 5 years, you know? Most guys that are competing, they're like, and there's exception. There's people still competing outside of the province. You can travel, like, the least is 2 hours, but like you can still travel and get your competition in. But I'm just saying, Montreal was a hub for competition for a while. We had like IBJJF, we had the Abu Dhabi trials in the gi. We had like grappling industry started in Montreal. Most people don't know this, but the guys from Montreal, and he started it, David Aguzzi, started just right around the corner here. So all that hub was not accessible for anyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Actually, we had him on early in our.
Oh, really?
We had him on when we were in the double digits. This is 113. We had him on. We had him on for a second time, and he blew us off.
Yeah.
What happened?
He wanted to do it earlier, and we were having some technical difficulties, but he wanted to move it up earlier. Then with our technical difficulties, we were like, we would have gotten on earlier, but we were having a problem. And then when we got everything worked out and we went to get him on, he had sent me a message. He's like, his girlfriend had plans, but like you had planned to be with us for like an hour. So like why? So we wound up, it was like during Christmas. So we did like a little Christmas message and. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was upset. I was upset. That hurt in the beginning. Now it's just like, fuck them. What are we going to do?
I can tell. Yeah. But hey, that shit happens, you know?
Yeah.
But all of this to say, just like it's finally legal. So we're going to have like competition soon. And I believe like ADCC is in the Open next month is in Ottawa, which is like 2 hours from here.
Yeah.
The reason why is because they would have put it in Montreal probably. And Montreal is going to be great again, you know, finally. Yeah. So it's going to be good.
I got to assume like that first big tournament is going to be packed.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Right? It's just going to be.
I can only imagine.
Hey,
insane.
I have a question. So, like, when they throw an IBJJF event in Montreal, do they serve acai bowls or like Le Banquise? Freaking. Like, what are they doing?
You've been to Montreal.
I don't know what that means, but.
Yeah.
La Banquise is a famous poutine place, which is like our national dish. Or
poutine. Yeah.
What is it?
That's French fries with gravy and cheese curds.
Okay.
But the thing is, in Canada, they don't pasteurize their dairies and like their preserves and everything. They don't have like preservatives and stuff in them. Okay. So like to me, it tastes way better up there.
Yeah.
Just imagine crunchy French fries. But Le Banquise does like really cool shit. Like you get like a Philly cheese steak poutine. You could get like a steak poutine. You could they make an omelet. Like it's different. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, you got to answer the question. No, right?
What?
All right.
What do they serve?
It's acai. Yeah.
Everywhere, man. Disappointed.
It's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
They're running a racket.
Bo, number one, did you get pictures? during the podcast. All right, and it's time for
The drill down.
we got the effects and everything. This is high level stuff here, Pierre.
That's pretty cool.
All right, all right. So I told you we got a list of questions, and then we'll say goodbye. But short or long answers are fine. It's not a speed round or anything like that.
Okay, cool.
Obviously, we see you training no gi. Do you ever train in the gi?
I trained for a few years. I haven't trained in a few years too. So not out of the question later on, but not until I retire from competition.
So the real question there is, what's the preference, gi or no gi?
I think it's pretty clear.
It's no gi. Okay.
Yeah.
No gi.
That's why I asked it that way. So
Spandex.
take down or pull guard?
Take down now, pull guard before back in the days. Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's take down. Yeah.
It'll come back around.
Probably.
Music during rolling, yes or no?
Yes.
What's your go-to? What's on your playlist? If you have control over the music in the
You
gym.
got the aux cord.
Yeah, probably like some something kind of mellow, not too intense, you know. So I don't know, like some
Enya?
reggae or like yeah.
He said
What's
Enya. Do you know who? Enya's probably like we're dating ourselves a little bit.
Yeah, I'm super young, man. I don't know about
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
Do you know who Enya is?
No,
see,
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think I do.
He's young.
You're
He's
a
too
baby. You're a baby.
I'm too young, yeah.
Enya's, you know Bjork?
Who? Sorry?
Bjork? Oh, man, I'm going to stop.
No, I don't think so.
Let's just go.
Maybe I know it by
Celine
ear.
Dion. You know her.
Celine Dion, of
You
course.
know, she got married in old Montreal, right? In the cathedral.
Yes,
I don't even know how
To the hockey player.
I don't even know how to explain that music, Enya music.
Yeah, it's like super.
You can't even sing it because it's just like
New age.
Yeah.
like a new. Yeah. All right.
It's like,
Okay, yeah.
So your
But-
preference? Go back to your preference. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I was saying, yeah, I think I like reggae because it's like kind of smooth, mellow.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I like something like harder. I like every type of music, to be honest. But like, sometimes I would like to roll on heavy metal, but most
Yeah.
people would not like that. I think so. We'll stick to reggae.
so eclectic. Eclectic is the answer.
Yeah.
Our coach doesn't let anybody have control over the music. He controls the music.
Your coach.
My coach, I'm sorry, your former coach. My coach doesn't let anybody control the music. But I love it when he puts like a playlist on, or like it's not even a play, like Spotify on.
Yeah.
And like there's some like love song sneaks into the mix or something that
Yeah.
I love it.
God.
And then I'll sing it really loud like while I'm
Oh,
rolling.
man.
Especially if it's like a love song and it's just like really like
He'll make somebody change
not
it.
appropriate.
He'll make somebody change it. His son
Yeah,
trains it.
that happened to me a few times. Too.
Yeah.
I love those moments. That's what
So-
because I
Yes.
do love every kind of music, and I could literally roll to anything. It could be hard
Yeah.
rock, it could be like
Yeah.
techno or electronic, or just like hip hop. I love every type of music. So each one of those puts me into like a different vibe. You know.
Yeah, I agree
wanna,
with that.
I want to add something to the drill.
Sure.
down.
Hit me.
What's your come out song?
Oh yeah, what's your walkout song?
Yeah, like not come
What
out.
would
You know,
your
unless you
walkout
want to,
song
bro. I'm not
be?
gonna judge. You know.
Yeah, I don't think I'm coming out anytime soon. But like, yeah,
Boys.
the walkout song. I've used "Immigrant Song" by Led Zeppelin like
Good
many
song.
times. I really think, I like the lyrics too. Like, because I'm always a foreigner, right? Coming into in the U.S. for competing. So that, and then I did a few times a song in French. That's just funny. It's like from where I'm from, and like no one would know.
Did you say
but it's
Wham?
like what?
No.
Did
from
you say
where?
where?
He says from where I'm from.
Oh, where I'm from. I
From
thought you
where?
said Wham. I was like, Wham's an old band. How do you not know any?
Wham!
I bet he doesn't know who Wham is either.
No.
No.
Damn.
You know who George Michael is?
Yes, absolutely.
That was his original band with his partner.
I didn't know that.
All of
There
his
was
songs
they
were his
were
coming
a
out
duo.
songs.
I'm gonna check it up on the Spotify later.
Yeah, make sure nobody's around because
Yeah.
it's gonna come off weird if you're like all of a sudden
Yeah.
playing Wham. Like
And
do it, just do it
I'm
when you're
gonna-
home by yourself.
Yeah, and don't sit
I'm
too.
gonna do
don't,
it.
Don't spread your legs
gonna
too
do it
wide
at
at
the
the
gym.
stall.
I'm just gonna do it at the gym in the playlist. Start a playlist.
Yeah,
for
Wham in there. Yeah, wake me up
Yep.
before you go. Just
Yeah,
that's the
wake
one you
me
want to
up.
look for. You'll know it when you hear it. You'll be like, oh, I've heard that song before.
Yeah, for sure.
Reminds you, every 90s.
So we always love to find out obviously you're a high level competitor. Are you watching all of these organizations that we talked about? Like, are you watching the PANs right now on Flow? Do you watch the WNOs when, are you watching this stuff when you're not competing in them?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a fan of the sport still. I don't watch everything, like the PANs and the gi. I'm not like I'll see the highlights. Like I'll go on the Flow account or I'll go on like Instagram, and I like to see the highlights for the gi. It still interests me, but like I'm not gonna watch it all day, But like who's number one? Yeah, always watch it. There's always good matchups.
Oh yeah.
I watch shows where I know some like the people that compete too. Like smaller shows I'll watch sometimes if I have like friends or like people I want to see. But yeah, definitely it's part of my routine to watch jiu-jitsu, and I go back and watch a lot of tape like on ADCC and on like other matches that I think I can take away something.
Besides your B team friends, do you have somebody like a favorite competitor to watch? Like when they're competing, you're like, I got to catch that match.
Super fan.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the Rutolos, definitely a fan. My friends, obviously, but like that's needless to say it. Yeah, the Rutolos, I think is like they're so fun to watch. So dynamic, so good at what they do. Good competitors too. Then let me think.
It could be old too. It doesn't have to be new. It could be somebody old from way back in the day too.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of like Marcelo for a while. Like I think like everybody.
That's a go-to.
Yeah. I've watched like Rafa Mendes. I used to love to watch like his stuff, what he was doing. He was so good, Old ADCC. I go back and I just watch like not random matches, but like matches I know like some of the guys and I've been my whole life my whole time in jiu-jitsu, like I was a Gary Tonin fan. I'm still a Gary Tonin fan. I think it's like hard not to be a fan of his style. He's like in my head, I was like, this is how you want to grapple. And sometimes it bites me in the ass because I'm like in a match, I'm winning, and I'm like, I got to do something right now because it's like it's boring. I should be a bit more tactical sometimes, but like Gary like is and has always been like that. He just goes and doesn't give a fuck, That I admire. That for sure. If Gary's fighting, I'm gonna watch.
He's like the Willy Wonka of grapplers. Like you never just like it's misdirection. Like he'll just like
you never know.
He'll stand up from turtle and just Granby roll from the stand up position. He'll he like goes and gets into like K guard, and then from K guard like slap a triangle. Like he'll attack your leg to attack your neck to it, and who was that giant guy? It was like
Paul Harris.
Yeah, and the Paul Harris.
Yeah,
dude, like taking on a match like that where a guy twice your weight.
Yeah, that match it's like you got to go back once a year and watch that match.
Yeah, that's one of those.
Kind of match, yeah.
Talk about being geared up.
I watched the Garcelo Kron match.
Yes.
I watched that one at least once every quarter.
Yeah, Kron was fun to watch. I've watched him a lot too. Yeah.
Okay, so our next question is, what's your ultimate goal in the world of jiu-jitsu? What do you want your
ultimate goal
to be?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say ultimate, but I have the different goals. Like I have multiple goals. So as a competitor, I want to get to the highest point that I can do by putting the effort and like putting the time in my craft. And not about like telling me I have to be ADCC gold medalist. It's just not how I work. I don't like putting myself in a narrow goal. I just want to improve as a person, as a competitor, and as a coach. So they're very wide goals. And then ultimately, I want to build a gym. That's going to come in a few years. I've been thinking about it. I've been planning on it like slowly but surely. I want to teach, and I want to have like people that look up to me that I can lead into either competition or just like, like enjoy like the hobbyist kind of like jiu-jitsu. Like if they can come to my gym and feel welcome, having fun, and we can like share things.
Culture.
Well, I'm going to be happy for sure. So it's like a big mix of different goals. But for now, I'm trying to focus more on the competitive career. And by that is like being a bit more like selfish, where every day my day is around me getting better at jiu-jitsu, as opposed to me sharing to everyone. Like I still teach like often, but I don't teach every day like crazy, because I feel like I need to spend more time on myself. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to ask the last question a different way.
All right.
So our last question, usually we're asking this question to people who train a little bit more gi. So I'm going to have you put on your thinking cap. Do you remember back to when you trained in the gi?
Yeah.
Did you or did you not wash your gi belt?
Oh yeah, I was washing it. Yeah.
Very good.
Hit the green light.
Yeah, absolutely. I was washing it all the time. Yeah.
Don't be dirty.
Don't need that fungus.
That's like the younger guys. I think the younger people in jiu-jitsu have washed it. All right, so go ahead.
I was just going to say, I technically still don't wash my belt, but I do wash my wife washes.
My wife washes it. Okay, you use that.
There you go. That's smart. Yeah.
All right, so listen, thank you so much for doing this. I want to give you a minute to shout out any of your sponsors or anybody you'd like to acknowledge. This is your time.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate that. I enjoyed it. It went by like really quick.
Yeah, it's been an hour and a half, man. It's always fun when it flies by like that.
Exactly. Really fun to talk to you guys. And just want to say, like, you guys see it on the screen, Roll Forever. So my sponsor and Betty created the company, and she's just been such a big help, not just for myself as a competitor, but like for other people in the industry. She's done a lot of stuff for a lot of people, and some people don't even know like how much stuff she's done. So she's amazing. The company is doing well. If you want to support us, you just go online on the website, and you can buy some gear. The amazing thing about it is that all the profits, they go back to the athletes. She's a selfless person, and she made the company for the athletes, so it's amazing. Yeah.
So she's she helps coordinate seminars, or they help coordinate your seminars as well, right? That's kind of part of the model. Is that right?
Yes, they do. They do a lot of things. They started like as a kind of a seminar company. Like she was bringing people to.
She's a broker.
What's that? Sorry.
She's like a broker. She like brokers.
Yeah, exactly. She would like get in touch with the athletes. She would bring people at her gym, and they could have like high level instruction. But then she started sponsoring a bit athletes like myself, helping me like to cover the fees and stuff like that. And it became like true ideas. Like over the years, we started like making more gear and stuff like that. And I help her with some of the more tech side of stuff, like the website and stuff like that. But and then she has a few really high level athletes under her wings, and just helping out, because jiu-jitsu is not always easy, right? Like
it's not cheap.
We're talking about the traveling, and it's not always. Yeah, you're not always getting paid for every competition. So.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you for Betty had reached out, and we talked about having a few different people that Roll Forever represented, and you were on that short list. So thank you for doing this again.
Thank you
I really appreciate it. Man.
I really appreciate it.
Had a good time, man. That
was fun.
It was a good time. So again, don't hang up, but appreciate it. And we're going to come take some pictures with you.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at TheBJJBox. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
All right, very cool, man.
Super cool.
Cool dude, right?
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself.
Me too.
All right. We're going to keep it short today, everybody. Thank you very much. Check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies for all the ways to watch, listen, and support. I'm Uncle Milty BJJ on Instagram.
I'm JJD_DJJ69.
Beauregard.
At BADWERKS, Bad Works.
Every time I come in to the gate and they're like, who you coming here to see? Is it your wife's name? I won't say your wife's name. And then they go to look at, I'm like, no. And then they go to read your name and they can never say it.
Of course.
It's simple. Bogdan.
Bogdan.
Bogdan asks, and then they just stop. And I'm like, it's just Bo.
Yeah,
Just say Bo. Don't try to say the last name.
If
All right,
somebody says a full name, that you got to watch out for them.
Yeah, right. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening. Peace, love, jiu-jitsu.
Peace, love.
Us.